And still pressing on, leading Class C at the moment for 1600cc cars, Ben and Isabel van der Westhuizen. Well, with Stage 7 cancelled due to the waterlogged roads, they were very, very bad, it's Hannes Robler with just 23 seconds in the lead over Johan Evertse. You can see how close it is, and SERGE DAMSEAUX 19 seconds behind him. And look at Class B, there's only 5 seconds in it as we start into the second day. You couldn't get it close on this. The rally's tense, you can feel it amongst the drivers, you can feel it amongst the service crews. This is a real humdinger that's going to go right to the finish. And that is early morning over. Nel Spaders, Hannes Robler leading away with those 23 points. We've got 14 stages left in this rally. As Hannes Strobel and Piet Swanepoel set off on the first of 14 stages today, on the second day of the Nissan 400, they've just got a slender lead of 23 points. With me, Dave McGregor. Dave, your impressions of yesterday afternoon's drama-packed event?
Certainly was drama-packed, Roger. There was a sheet of water that seemed to come from nowhere, cancelling the 7th stage. The four-wheel drive cars, a definite advantage. The attack by Volkswagen on the Manufacturers' Championship coming a bit to pieces when 3 of their contenders fell out of the rally, and certainly the meat of the rally starting today.
But Dave, your impressions, you know this area well. What do you forecast for today? It's looking a bit overcast.
It's looking overcast. One thing there won't be a problem with is dust, but I think that on these forest stages, which are really where rallies should be run and counted, on the corners, a lot of loose mud, and that's where the trick is, to know which corners is going to be muddy and slippery and where you can put your foot down. I think, again, a definite advantage for the four-wheel drive cars in today's rally up here in Sabie Nelspruit area.
Right, let's have a look now at today's route.
Wel, daar begin ons by die eerste sneldeel, dis nommer 8. Eerste sneldeel is 8, dan 19 in die omgewing van Witrivier en Sabie. Dit is in die plantasiewêreld daar. En heel wat modder grondpaaie wat die manne daar sal moet aanpak. Dit is Johan Evertse, Steve Harding wat klaarmaak aan die einde van sneldeel 8. Hulle het reeds, lyk dit my, so 'n bietjie van die pad af gegaan. 3 sekondes ingehaal op Hannes Grobler en Piet Swanepoel. Reeds begin die aksie hier aan die begin van die tweede dag. En die gaping is al kleiner tussen die voorlopers. En die spanning is besig om al hoër en hoër en hoër te gaan. Hannes Grobler, hulle wat weet dat hulle hier 'n tydren op hulle hande het. Dit is in die 9de sneldeel. Kassie en Wally Harrington, hoë spoed daar in die bosse. Het lyk baie maklik, moet ek jy sê, maar teen ongeveer 180 km/h. En dit is waar hierdie motors in staat is op 'n gelykdeel. Is dit 'n groot handvol om daardie groot Nissan Skyline so netjies en gladweg om daardie S-draai te kry soos wat Kassie dit nou daar doen. Kassie wat een van die meest talentvolle tydrenjaars in Suid-Afrika is. Hier is Jannie Habig. Weer eens sywaarse Jannie, soos ons hom almal ken, maar hy beheer sy motor. Hy weet presies wat hy doen wanneer hy om 'n draai gaan. En met Jannie en Johan en Martie Olivier in een van die agterste motors in die laerklasse, maar hulle loop voor in klas C op die oomblik 2 sekondes bo Ben en Isabel van der Westhuizen.
And this is what South African rally is all about, down in the forests with a works Audi Quattro at work. Johan Evertse out to show that he can win this rally, and going about it, he's leading at the moment. He's been followed by SERGE DAMSEAUX catching him in the works Toyota. He's got Hannes Strobler marshalling all the Nissans he can get together so that he can come home with the manufacturer's prize. Habig once again into stage 11. You can see the conditions, the overcast skies, the mud, the loose sand, and that skyline work. Listen to that glorious sound as it goes down the road. Here he is again, using using more than he should do as he goes away there, scattering half the banking across the countryside. And here's the battle for Class C, the 1600 class. Just trailing the field by 2 seconds is Ben and Isabel van der Westhuizen. And here are the leaders in the older model Volkswagen, bringing in the points for Volkswagen, Johan and Martie Olivier. So it's a husband and wife team. This morning it was 4 seconds ahead for the van der Westhuizens. Now it's 2 seconds ahead for the Oliviers. And unfortunately, just after that shot, the Oliviers went out with a broken side shaft. The SERGE starting to go into the lead now. He's putting the pressure on, taking those vital seconds off. Still looking a bit second-hand, as is Nick Duval leading Class B. We're coming up to the lunchtime break, but still the power's going on as he goes into those deep forests. Here's Leon Botha and Davy Kotza in the Nashville Golf Opsie. Very slippery, as you can see out there, and they go straight on at that turn in that Golf. The marks you see in the road, in fact, are also Jeff Mortimer's, where he went on straight at the same turn. Now we're coming up to the lunch break, and the new leader is SERGE DAMSEAUX with a slender lead of just 2 seconds. Serge, just 7 stages to go, and you've got a 2-second lead. You certainly are putting the pressure on Hannes.
Well, after yesterday, we had a slight misfire, and this morning we decided, well, we'll have to put some pressure on, and just as well as a bit wet out there for us, it definitely helps us. And it's quite hairy. We had a few spins already, so we'll see from here it goes.
Hy is stilweg optimisties, maar kom ons hoor wat sê Hannes Grobler. Hannes, daai voorsprong het verdwyn, die druk is nou regtig op jou, lyk dit my.
Ons hoop ons kan uitsorteer. Die groot ding met ons, die verskil tussen ons en die ander twee manne is, hulle kan voluit gaan, hulle wil die tydren wen. Ons probeer om te wen, maar ons moet ook in ag neem dat Nissan gaan vir die vervaardigers. So ek kan ook nie kanse vat nie. Hulle kan kanse vat, as hulle uitval, dan maak niks nie vervaardigers nie. So ek moet nog klaarmaak en ek wil probeer om eerste te kom.
Indruk, ja, die spanning is baie hoog. Ek dink op hierdie stadium van die tydren moet ons maar almal versigtig wees, want die paai is so nat en glad een fout kan vir jou maklik 20-30 sekondes of heeltemal uit die tydren uitsit. My taktiek op hierdie stadium sal maar net wees om so na aan moontlik aan die manne te bly en hopelik kry ons 'n paar snel dele wat die kar pas en dan sal ons van daar af kyk of ons nie kan wen nie.
And with just 7 stages to go in this year's South African Rally Championship, how could you have it closer? 3 seconds separating the first 3 Class A motorcars. You can see there's Serge and Vito in the Toyota Conquest, just 2 seconds ahead of Hannes Grobler and Piet Swanepoel in that mighty Nissan Skyline, with Johan EVERTSE and Steve Harding in the Audi Sport S1, the one that has taken Sarel van der Merwe to the South African Championship already, just a solitary second behind them. Nick de Waal and Guy Hodgson leading Class B ahead of Cassie Coetzee and Wiley Harrington, and then in Class C, Johan Prince leading with Basil Anderson, Class E, Eric Saunders in the Toyota, and Class F, Roelof Fekken.
Nog 7 sneldele oor in die omgewing van Sabie en Witrivier. Dis hier waar hierdie tydren beslis gaan word en waarskynlik ook die Suid-Afrikaanse vervaardigerstitel. In die omgewing van Sabie en Witrivier, daar in die bosse, plantasies, grondpaaie, baie modder, daar wat heelwat reën geval die afgelope tyd. En hier is dit Johan EVERTSE en Steve Harding, die stryd om die voor te hou in hierdie baie belangrike laaste tydren van die seisoen. Hy Audi Quattro wat al so bietjie gehavend lyk na baie moeilike tydren tot dusver. Hier is SERGE DAMSEAUX, Vito Bonafide. En dit lyk my daar die flikkerlig van hulle het hulle nou reg gekry. Maar nog steeds so hard as wat hulle kan, want daar is sekondes verskil tussen hierdie eerste 3 met Hannes Grobler hulle ook hier. En dit is baie belangrik vir hulle om so goed as moontlik te eindig en soveel as moontlik punte in te samel.
And Nick de Waal leading Class B is going to hang on to that lead despite all the dented bodywork, putting on a grand drive there with Guy Hodgson. And then we've got Ben and Isabel van der Westhuizen, that husband and wife team. They were second at lunchtime, but in fact they went into the lead when Prince and Anderson went out with a broken side shaft. Spectacular. Dickie Claver leading at the moment, but there's a broken side shaft ahead for him as he gets onto the muddy roads. And ever Mr. Consistency himself, it's Eric Saunders reeling in the wins in that Toyota. Now we're down to the final, most important stages. 3 stages to go. DAMSEAUX still leading Hannes Grobler. Nick de Waal leading Class B at the moment. And the bad news came through that Johan EVERTSE went out with a blown turbo. And as the sun comes through at the end of this very wet rally, news also filters through from the forest that Hannes Grobler has been slowed by a puncture and is also running in 2-wheel drive. And that's a big setback for him, leaving the little conquest of SERGE DAMSEAUX and Vito Bonafide to win this rally by just over 3 minutes.
3 minute 21 sekondes om die waarheid te sê, die verskil tussen SERGE DAMSEAUX en Vito Bonafide in die Toyota Conquest. Hulle is baie bly om daardeur Laurierkrans van Jeannie de Beer te ontvang tussen hulle en Hannes Grobler en Piet Swanepoel wat dan in die tweede plek eindig, ongelukkig na daardie meganiese probleme. Oorwinnaars dan in Klas A, SERGE en Vito in die Toyota Conquest. In Klas B, die Volkswagen Passat van Nick en Guy, Nick de Waal en Guy Hodgson. In Klas C, die egpaar Ben en Isabel van der Westhuizen in die Volkswagen 1600 Volkswagen Golf. Nuna de Cunha wat deurkom om Klas D te wen, nadat Dickie Claver hulle probleme gehad het in die tweede laaste sneldeel. Erik Sanders, Stilo van Westragen, die oorwinnaars weer eens, soos gewoonlik kan 'n mens amper sê, in hulle Toyota Conquest in Klas E. En in Klas F was dit Roelof Fekken en François Jordan wat die oorwinning daar behaal in hulle Toyota Conquest. So, hoewel Nissan dan die vervaardigersprys gewen het in hierdie tydren, is dit wat die seisoen betref agter die naam van Volkswagen en hulle is hierdie jaar se kampioene. Wat 'n ongelooflike einde aan 'n